Revelation chapter 16, you'll see that this is now this whole thing about Jesus Christ coming back full of wrath, and all these things are going to happen, right? Okay, now I'm going to read that there are 7 bowls of wrath that are supposedly supposed to be opened up on the earth, okay? I'm just going to read 2 of them, all right? Now, the first one I'm going to read is in verse 2 of Revelation 16, and it says, "So the first angel went out and poured the bowl upon the earth, the first bowl upon the earth, and a foul and loathsome sore came upon the men who had the mark of the beast and those who worship the image." I did some videos earlier last year about this whole concept of the mark of the beast. I don't have time to do that. I did it on Facebook Live. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about it, just leave it in the comment section, and I'll get some snippets from that message, and I'll do a separate video on that. But it's way more than what people think it is. A lot of people think that it's just about a chip, a microchip in your hand, or the jab. You know, that's probably a byproduct, if it is anything at all to do with the mark of the beast, but it's more a concept and a mindset. The other verse in Revelation chapter 16, which is verse 8, it says, "Then the 4th angel poured out his bowl on the sun, and power was given to him to scorch men with fire. And the men," verse 9, "were scorched with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of God who had power over these plagues, and they did not repent, and they gave him glory." So, having read all of that, okay, what exactly did John see, and what exactly was the angel of the Lord trying to teach John? Daryl is showing him that all this calamity is going to take place on the earth. Okay, I hear that, and I see where you're referring to. However, what is the angel of the Lord trying to teach John concerning the wisdom behind it, okay? Let's go. I want to go to Luke chapter 23. Let's go to Luke chapter 23, verse 27. And it says, "And a great multitude of the people followed him, and women who also mourned and lamented him." Verse 28. "But Jesus, turning to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children." Verse 29. "For indeed the days are coming in which they will say, Blessed are the barren wombs that never bore, and breasts which never nursed." Verse 30. "Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Fall on us and cover us." Verse 31. "For if they do these things in the green wood, what will they do in the dry wood?" And I explained that in the last video that I did, taken from Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7. Essentially, the green wood is symbolic of the man or woman who puts their trust in God no matter what they're going through concerning persecution and or tribulation. So again, verse 31 of Luke chapter 23 says, "For if they do these things in the green wood, what will be done in the dry?" Okay, so if this can happen to somebody who is actually planted by the rivers of water, who trust in the Lord, and they could still get it in terms of persecution and tribulation, imagine what will happen to the tree that is dry, or the person who does not trust in the Lord. It will even be much worse. So you're going to see in the book of Revelation that there's a difference between someone who is considered as dry, or that has the mark of the beast, and someone who is considered as green, or in other words, puts their complete trust in God. Just because you put your complete trust in God does not necessarily mean that problems will not come. Also, the green wood, or the green type of person, is the person who's considered as sealed. Okay. Now, there are going to be people that say, well, Dal, I don't know about that, because if somebody's sealed, then nothing can happen to them. That's right, and that's not all the way right. But what that means is somebody who's sealed, it doesn't necessarily stop tribulation from coming to them. But when tribulation or persecution comes to them, they're able to overcome, because there's nothing that gets deep down enough to sink them. Okay? And when I say that, think about Peter when he was trying to walk on the water, and also read also read Psalms chapter 69. David was also using a bunch of euphemisms in that prayer. Okay? I want you to do that for your homework, but we'll move on. Okay? So now that I've told you a little bit more about what John is seeing concerning the rocks falling on us, and the people running for shelter, and they want them wanting to die, and they're not even going to be able to die. Okay, it's always good to bring up proof of that. All right, so remember what we're talking about. We're talking about John's vision of what he saw in Revelation. It wasn't so much about the end of the world and all this calamity that's coming, as much as it was about the angel of the Lord teaching John about what happens to a person when they are tested and they are tried. Even if they put their complete trust in the Lord, they can still get rocked and swayed to the point where, if they're not careful, they can be deceived. All right. And the reason why we go through tribulations and trials is to test and make sure that all our corners and all the cracks that are in our lives are sealed. You don't know unless you're battle tested. Again, you don't know unless you are battle tested.